Welcome to the Lettering Lifestyle. My name is Doris, and today I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to create a chalkboard look using black foam core. This year is my fourth one-of-a-kind Christmas show, which is an amazing curated craft show that has been a tradition since 1975. It features over 800 handmade artisans, and it is an honor to be part of one of the largest and best attended shows in North America. Being a part of the show, we meet artisans and makers that become our friends. So it was a pleasure to meet Helen of Vintage Map Co. that creates beautiful pillows from vintage Canadian maps. Helen needed some chalkboards in the 11th hour because she had so many pillows and not enough room to display them all. So she reached out, and I figured it was the perfect opportunity to show you how easy it was to create a chalkboard look without a chalkboard and without the mess of using real chalk. Today we're going to create a mockboard, which is a fake chalkboard using black foam core. The great thing about black foam core is that you can find it so easily. You can find it in dollar stores, you can find it at art stores, and I've worked on black foam core as big as 4 feet by 8 feet. So you can really almost make a mural out of it. And it's also very lightweight. So for you to hang it, it's actually really easy as well. So that's why it's a perfect surface to create a chalkboard look without using a real chalkboard. However, you do need some special tools to create this look because real chalk just won't do. The beauty of using black foam core is actually we can cut it to whatever size we need. So if you happen to have frames at home already that you really love, you can actually pop the glass out of it or the acrylic or the plastic off the front of the glass. You measure the back and then you can just cut your foam core to size and place it into the frame. And then all of a sudden you have a chalkboard look with a frame that you love, but it's actually just black foam core. There are two tools that I'll be using today to create this fake chalkboard look. The first one is for sketching. The second one is more permanent. The sketching stage is actually, I'll be using the mechanical Bohin France chalk pencil. This one is widely used with seamstresses and quilters as it's usually for fabric, but because of its fine like lines, I use it for my chalkboard work. And obviously since it's chalk, it's erasable, but because it comes in this pencil format, it's not messy at all. My second tool that I'm going to use is going to be my favorite tool of all time, my #1 tool, the Stabilo All. I have tons of these in stock all the time. This one is wonderful because it still gives you the texture and the look of chalkboard, but once you put this on your black foam core, it's not going to budge. I also use this tool for real chalkboard as well because it's actually water soluble, so you can actually wipe it off with a cloth and water, just like you would with real chalk, except you don't have to get your hands dirty, which is like my #1 reason why I love this tool so much. So if you happen to just have like any frame in your house, you can pop out the back and use the back as a measuring tool. So you would place your backing onto the foam core. You would use the Bohin France and just make your outlines. And then from there you have a clear indication of where you are going to cut. With black foam core, you will be needing an X-Acto knife or utility knife and a very good ruler. Usually using a ruler with padding on the bottom is better because since you're using a knife, you kind of don't want your ruler to be slipping. So sometimes if you just use a plastic ruler, when you're applying force, your ruler might slip. So always try to find a ruler with like a cork backing, so that's a little bit more sturdy and it stays put when you're working. So then, always try to use a mat board when you're working as well because you don't want to damage your furniture when you're making your cuts. And there you go. So what you do then is you can pop this back into your frame and then voila. You have a fake chalkboard ready to go. As always, sketches are really, really important. You should always have sketches before you begin working on your piece. It's going to save you a lot of time, and it actually makes you practice your lettering and your composition. So I always encourage you to sketch. Don't just dive right in there. Create your sketches before you start your piece. Okay, so I'm making 2 signs for Helen today, so we are going to be working on one of them. The first thing that you would do when you start off with your sign is that you would create a border. It's always very important to create a border within your signage because you don't want your lettering to lead off of the page or lead off of the edge or be too squished along the edge. So what I always do first, no matter what, is I always create a border for myself so that I'm contained. I'm contained within the piece. Usually if I was working with chalkboard and glass, I would be using tape. Tape would be my best friend, but because this is foam core, which is essentially the surface is like paper, if you were to apply tape, there is a chance that when you remove the tape, it's going to take the paper surface off. So therefore, we will not be using tape on black foam core. And we are just drawing lines with our Bohin France mechanical chalk pencil. From your sketch, you should be mapping out every area where your lettering is going to be. Every line, every word has its own place. So with my sketch in hand, I'm going to start creating the sections for all the lettering that's within this piece. So I usually kind of do some measuring back and forth. Remember when you're making lines, for every word, you also have to allocate a space between the words, right? So right now, as you can see, this is my header where it would say Ontario. This line would be for Algonquin Park. Then I'm giving myself a space. There you go. So this is Algonquin Park, give myself a little space. This is Lake Simcoe, give myself a little space. So when you're finished your mapping out, you should have like something like this, like a template for where all your lettering is gonna go. And then you're ready to start lettering. So once we have our template, I'm going to start lettering. We do have our sketch on hand from before, so we will be sketching everything with our Bohin France mechanical chalk pencil. So we're going to begin. Just keep in mind that during this period, we're actually just using these sketches to lay down and making sure all our wording fits in. So now that we've finished sketching with our Bohin France mechanical chalk pencil, we are going to dive right into the more permanent medium, which is the Stabilo All. So this is what we're going to use to go over our sketch. At this point, we can also kind of correct our mistakes. If you notice that you were off center a little bit, you can correct yourself when you're doing this at this stage because we can erase our sketch marks later on. If you're a perfectionist, you can actually use a ruler to make all these lines. However, I never really strive too much on perfection. I kind of like things a little bit like askew, a little bit wobbly sometimes, just a little bit. Because when you have those like little wobbles and, you know, things like that, it looks like it's really hand done. So now we've actually completed the lettering part of our sign. From here, I will be erasing all my sketch marks. And then after that, I'm going to be adding all the details to our letters to make it even more complete and give them a little bit more character. The best thing about these mock boards is that black foam core is so easy to find and it's so light and easy to hang. It may not be reusable, but it's so reasonably priced that replacing them is not an issue. And don't forget, you can always use the back. Thank you for watching, and if you want to learn more about how you can live this lettering lifestyle, find more tips and tricks in my book, Extraordinary Hand Lettering.